and welcome to another episode of inspirED. I'm Sarah Louden from Total Health Conferencing, and today I'm really proud and excited to be joined by my own team as we talk through what we do, who we are, how we as a small business manage through COVID, and for those who work with us to get an inside look on how we operate in planning the things that we do. So I'd like to start by asking each one of you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Total Health. And we can start in no particular order, so just jump right in.
I'll go first. My name is Dayin Miller. I'm the program director at Total Health Conferencing, and I essentially oversee all the programs that we do logistically, all the details, and kind of coming up with speakers, agenda, exhibitors, and really managing all of the details and attention to everything that we do logistically.
Thank you, Dayin. Reyna, I'll go to you since you're next on my screen.
Okay. Hi, I'm Reyna. I'm the program coordinator at Total Health Conferencing, and I also assist with all logistics and day of meeting tasks. So anything from speakers, inviting them, confirming them, if we're live, speaker travel, hotel, or anything from their presentations. And if we're virtual, then anything on the virtual platform, from adding graphics to adding sessions, making sure timing is all correct. And then day of, really any task to make sure we go successfully. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Reyna. Courtney, I'll go to you.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm the marketing and branding manager here at Total Health. And I also produce this podcast, so I'm the face behind all these episodes that you've been watching along with. I basically promote all the events across our digital platforms as of now, including social media, email, and just any digital things that we're doing. And then just make sure our brand looks consistent across the board.
Thank you, Courtney. And Zandrana, I'll end last but not least with you.
Hello, I'm Zandrana. So my title is Marketing and Event Coordinator. So I provide support to all of our educational events, whether that is virtual or live, and I also provide support to our digital platforms. And more recently, since COVID, I'm more client-facing, so I provide engagement to the clients, the attendees as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And for all of those listening who don't know what Total Health Conferencing is, we are a medical information and events company and manage live events, publications, things like educational outreaches like webinars, peer-to-peer videos, mostly in the oncology space, although we've done things in cardiology, neurology, and women's health. But ultimately, we are a company that used to be almost exclusively focused on live meetings. And with COVID-19, of course, a lot of those things have changed. So now we kind of focus more on what we can deliver virtually to audiences to bring information about cancer care to healthcare providers, advocates, and stakeholders in pharmaceuticals and diagnostics. So I'm gonna kind of go around the room because I would like to know how you all got to be here. And that's a little bit about where you came from, the things you were involved in, and maybe even like what made you choose a career in events, if that was accidental or purposeful. Dayin, since we started with you, I'll go back to you.
Yeah, so I went to college at the University of South Florida with a major in business management and a minor in hospitality. And my goal was always to be in event coordination. It was just something I had a passion for and that I loved. So throughout college, I held some leadership roles where I was a vice president of programming for my sorority. So I was in charge of planning all of the sisterhood events or really any programs that were going on throughout the whole organization. And then I also held an internship at a wedding company where I was helping on on-site day of wedding planning. So I was making sure the bride and the groom had their happily ever after. So it was really nice to kind of see the planning side of it and also the day of side of things. And then I kind of just, this job fell into my lap. I knew someone in the internship, and the stars aligned and I got this job. I never anticipated being in the medical field whatsoever, but events was always my passion and what I wanted to do.
That's so awesome. I love the backgrounds of all of you. And I love how you did come to be here and what the kind of richness of what you bring from other industries has done to us. Because I think it could, medical events could kind of be and have traditionally been a little boring, very kind of like black and white. And so I think having all of you with your backgrounds has really changed the way doctors expect us to engage with them. So I love that. Reyna, what about you? What brought you here? And tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I guess I'll date myself back to high school, senior year. Everyone was in like that guidance class where everyone was saying, what they wanted to go to college for. And I was like, I have no idea. Maybe I just won't go to college because I don't know. And then I took like this self-assessment test, and it gave you like all of these things of your possible career paths. And it was like nurse, doctor, teacher, and like all these things where I was like, these are so basic. I don't want to do any of this. And I just don't know. And so then on the bottom of the list was event planner. And I was like, oh, that's cool. It's talking about a wedding planner. Let's just do that. So then I had my head set on wedding planner, and I went to school in Florida at Lynn University, and I got into my first class and found out that there's just so much more than just weddings that you can plan. And so then I started working in the events department on campus, which I basically just helped with all events on campus, whether they were for the staff or for the students. And that was really fun and really opened my eyes to all the things you can plan and things like that. And so that's how I really fell into events and developed my passion for it. And then when I graduated from Lynn University, I was like, I don't know where I'm going next. And then I found Total Health Conferencing and applied and interviewed and got accepted and started with you guys. And like Dayin, I never thought I would fall into the medical field, but here I am, and I enjoy it very much, and I love it.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Before I go to Courtney and see, the live events industry has been hit so hard, like so hard. People that manage sound and lights and equipment and tables and chairs and tents and like all of the things that go to power live events. It's been one of the most difficult transitions for this industry that, when you think about it, is behind so much of what we do. Anything from a concert to a trade show to a medical education event, even things like school carnivals, like anything you could really think of that kind of played along the daily life of a person has some type of powering from the live events industry behind it. And so hearing Dayin and Reyna talk about, knowing that they wanted to be in events, seeing that when they stepped into events, it's such a vast, group of opportunities. I think it's important for us as an events company to kind of start with the fact that not everybody has been able to kind of figure out how to continue services. And there are still people in our industry that are struggling after, owning their businesses for decades that, can't find their way back, at least during this time. So we are very thoughtful about that. All of our tech people that support our meetings, we definitely are thinking about you all the time. Courtney, I'm going to go to you with what brought you to work in this company, which is a little bit different than the other girls, but I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah. So my background is not really in live events at all. Live events, I think before this kind of scared me a little because they just seem so huge and such a big task to take on. So I commend you all for like diving right into that. But my background is in advertising and like content creation. So I worked at an agency working on advertising specifically, and then I worked at Macy's on their social media team doing all the content creation. And up until March of this year, when everything turned the world around, I was actually furloughed from my job at Macy's, and just kind of had to figure it out, what I was going to do. Very stressful situation. But I've been friends with Dayin for so long. Like we met in college, and she's actually my big when we were in a sorority together. So we've had a close connection for a while. And over the years, she's always asked me for advice on total health, and I'm always happy to give it, but I really didn't have any time to invest into it because I always had another job. So I got the unique opportunity to kind of freelance for you guys and help you out and kind of bring a new perspective in. And I just saw the passion and like love that you guys put into the work you do, even during this stressful time. So it was so cool to come in for that. And then it kind of just picked up from there, and got hired on from the freelance job. And ever since then, it's just been a whirlwind of like experimenting and figuring it out together. So
yeah, and it's so wonderful to have you on the team because you bring a dimension that we really never paid attention to. We always were so focused on the brand during the meetings. And so when everything changed, it was kind of like, okay, well, how do we let people see who we are when they don't have the opportunity of being live with us? And you've really done such an amazing job of doing that. And for anyone and all of you listening, this team that you see right now really is the core team. We've got support team members in finance and graphic design, even, you know, people that come on for helping with live event coordination, background things like cold calling people to get them signed on. So it really does take a village in addition to who you're listening to and seeing in this podcast. Zandrana, I'm gonna go to you for what brought you to work in events and how you came to Total Health.
Well, it's a bit of a journey. So in high school, I actually got a scholarship for accounting, and I went to University of Florida. Go Gators, by the way. And from there, I was in accounting for about a full year and like a semester, until I went to a sponsored lunch by one of the big 4 accounting companies. And in this lunch, like you had the different tables, you sat down with one of the vice presidents or executives of a branch, and sitting down, I was talking to the guy, and he just looked like he just hated his job. Like he just hated everything about it. And it's a problem when somebody says my Super Bowl is tax season, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I can't get down with that. I'm sorry. So that same day, I changed my major completely. I went to my advisor. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I'm going to go insane. So she told me to, take a couple of days, look through different majors that we had on campus at the time, and I was like, all right, I think I want to go into marketing, but I didn't have the necessary credits at the time to do so. So I had to supplement that and go into a different major, which was hospitality management and tourism. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go in here, get the necessary credits I need. That way I can transition to marketing properly. And never happened because I love like the whole atmosphere of everything. So I was like, oh, I'm going to stay in here. So from there, I got different internships, one at the Fort Lauderdale CVB, that's down here in South Florida. Completely fell in love with destination management and tourism and event planning. And then from there, I worked at different jobs. My most recent event job was working for a DMC, which is destination management. They acquired another company. So in that acquisition, I lost my job. So it happens, you continue to look. I came across Total Health Conversing that same year in 2019 in June or July. I met with the lovely Dayin and Sarah at a coffee shop. Starbucks, and we sat down, we talked about the position at the time, and I was like, these ladies are amazing. You know, I like their energy. Like, I see this happening. Okay. And then after the meeting, you told me, hey, just send me your references, send me your information. So I got home from my temp job, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take a nap, and then I'm going to get everything together and send it off. And as soon as my head hit the pillow, my phone went off. And I'm like, oh, okay, who is this? And I believe it was Sarah telling me that they went with someone else. And I was like, oh, well, that was fun. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. You know, my feelings aren't hurt. So I was like, all right, that's fine. So I went through life again until the position came available again, I believe in December, or end of November, early December. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it again. Who knows? It might just stick this time. And it actually did. And I started in January and been here ever since. So
thank you, Z. I remember Dayin and I remember us agonizing over who we should go with, because as anyone listening can tell, you have the best energy ever. And so it was just kind of like, you know, do we go with energy or do we go with experience, energy or experience? And I have to say to any other owners right now, always go with energy. You can give them the experience, but you can't give people the energy. So I'm so glad that when we were ready, you were ready too. Okay, so let's move on to, you know, I was told early on years ago when I first started the company, I was told, someone said to me, you know, event planners' stress levels are as high as like firefighters and emergency room physicians. And I just like laughed at it because I thought that's ridiculous. And then I realized and like saw, no, that's real. It's one of the top 5 most anxiety pushing, most difficult jobs in terms of demand in any industry across all industries. And so, you know, we've felt that. I think everybody on this call can say we have felt those moments. But at the same time, I think when you have the type of personality that keeps you in events, there's something that balances you. And I just wanted to ask, maybe 2 of you will go over to the next question next, what a productivity trick might be when you are feeling like completely overwhelmed and completely panicked and nervous. Dayin, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll probably ask Reyna, and we'll go on to the next question after. So Day, go ahead.
Yeah, I just to kind of take it back a second too, I found out that, you know, events were the top 5 most stressful jobs across the world. And when I was in college, and I was like, yeah, I can understand why, because there's so many things that are out of your control that you're constantly trying to put in your control, and out external factors that you really, you know, have to try to plan and manage and have a plan A, B, C, D, all the way up to Z. So it is really stressful, but it kind of keeps you on your toes, and it's always a challenge, which makes it a lot of fun. But for me, when you're sort of, you know, can't get into the groove of things and your brain's just scrambled because there's so many things going on, my productivity trick is really to step away for an hour. I'm a big TV watcher. I love TV. I love reality TV. So I really like have to just like shut it off, turn it down, let my brain like have some entertainment for a minute, and then get back into a structure of like, okay, this is my project 1, and do it step by step. Because if I'm trying to do too many things at once, I'm not going to be able to get it done the way I would normally get it done if my brain was focused. So letting my brain have that brain break, dump everything out, and then come back with a refocused mind.
Well, it's so funny as you were saying that, I was thinking like you almost leave your life's mess to enter into someone else's life's mess when you're watching reality TV. So that's probably one of the reasons why you're drawn to it. Reyna, I'm going to go to you. When you feel that stress level, either like acutely, you know, something right in the moment, a mic's not working or the speaker's 20 minutes late, or something longer term where it's like the thing you're trying to do just isn't working, what's a productivity trick that you use?
I'm gonna have to agree with Dayin about taking a breather. When I first joined the team, I found Dayin and I both love reality TV, so we are attached to the same shows. So I definitely turn to those shows too. But I also love the outdoors. So even if it's just taking a walk or sitting in the chair outside, just to take a quick breather, bring your mind somewhere else and then come back to it with a fresh start. But also I think relying on the team a bit too is a great way also, even if I'm like, there's too much on my plate or I have way too much going on right now, I can always turn to anyone here, whether it's Dayin, Courtney, Zandrana, or even you, Sarah, to try and get some help or reevaluate what we have on our to-do list to kind of get a better plan going or get a better flow into it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I mean, I have to say I always try to say from like week one, if not week one, then I say it as many times as possible. We will make mistakes. Things will go wrong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to happen. It's not even how you respond in the moment when it's happening, but it's just the acknowledgement that it's going to go wrong. And sometimes there's nothing you can do to make it, you know, kind of go back to normal. And so I think knowing that and employing that and really empowering the team to realize that that is part of the reality of what we do relieves some of that stress. It doesn't take it away, but it does say, you know, I'm not going to lose my job over this. No one's going to think that I'm the worst worker in the world because of this. Even on the audience side, they'll understand that this is outside of our control. And so I do think that one huge way that event planners and people that are involved in events can kind of minimize or mitigate that stress level is to just realize that this is like a human role and that things are going to go wrong. And if they do go wrong, it's going to be fine. So that's something that for me, I think helps me manage when those high stress moments come up. Courtney, I'm going to turn to you and ask you, what's influenced you the most in terms of how you approach your work?
That's a good question. I feel like I've learned so much over the years from just the people I work with, and I really just enjoy having mentors in my life, even if it's not a direct like mentor relationship, just absorbing everything from the people that you work with. And I've had like really great experiences with agency world and then working in-house in a brand, and now this is completely different than anything I've experienced before. So just learning from all of you and how you approach things and like trying to learn the way that you think, because it gives me perspective on the way that I approach stuff. So always adjusting to like what other people do and finding things that I like in others and trying to attach that to myself. Like I always admire people in my life that, and especially in work, that speak so well, because I'm a writer. I think I write really well, but I just want to like embrace it and absorb that. So being around people that I admire is always like my strength, and or like what I try to bring on as my strength.
I think that that's great. And especially too, you know, we're a woman-owned and woman-powered company. I think for women, it's so important to always like not just be mentored, but mentor someone else. So if you're always in that chain or always in that pattern where you're kind of like learning from other women that have walked before you or have solved issues, and you're looking back and saying, who can I do this for? You know, we're constantly like getting better and better and better. And I think that that's something that's really great about this group and about your answer. Zandrana, I'm going to ask you, almost knowing the answer before I ask it, what's a personality trait that you most attribute to your success and why? Don't say
I
it's
should-
your serious nature either.
The sarcastic part of me. But yes, you can tell I like to bring joy to a lot of things that I do, especially around the people I'm around, like most of the time, which is, of course, these lovely ladies here. I find that when you are just always serious, always, like tunnel vision focused on like one task, one everything just always has to be like in this box. It doesn't really give a lot for creativity, and it doesn't also like make you like the most pleasant person to be around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I work with a lot of people like that. And I find that when you do bring joy to your work, you enjoy it more. And of course, if you bring joy to people you're around, they might be having a bad day and they won't tell you, or something just happened, but it'll bring a smile to their face and really make them more open and receptive and just improve their day. Because, the whole old saying, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. That's like how I live my life.
Yeah. What's so great about what Z's saying is even, we'll come to find out, just because we're a small, close team, we'll come to find out that Z might be struggling with something personally in her life, serious things personally in her life. And yet the day of that, we were laughing and she was like making us all smile and just like taking the time to kind of take a mental break, will be the day that it's hard for her. And we won't even know that until later. And so it's really like, it really is a personality trait, because you really do practice what you preach, and that it's easier to be joyful and always smiling than to focus on things that are difficult. So I value that so much in you. Dayin, this question is 100% for us, my dear. So COVID-19 hits. I remember it was little Joe, my son Joe's birthday. His birthday was March 15th. I think we celebrated March 15th. And nothing was the same after that. Like, nothing was the same. We were coming up to our busiest summer in the company's history. We had committed an 8-city or 7-city tour. 8-city tour, and everything from hotels to registrations to exhibit booths to every possible thing we could think of turned upside down. What has been the greatest challenge for you since COVID-19 in the way we operate?
I think the greatest challenge was really trying to adapt to turning into an IT person and turning into a computer geek and figuring out how the technology works. Because with live meetings, we're dealing with technology, and we're working, our live programs, if anyone has attended, we have like our iPads for checking in, a badge printer. And so like that sort of technology I was already adapted with and knew kind of how to run it and how to troubleshoot it. But then when you're turning a full meeting to being completely virtual, and then having to, like I said before, make plan A, B, all the way through Z, and being able to troubleshoot and know the answers when you didn't even know what the questions were going to be, I think was really the most difficult thing. But once we sort of established what the platform that we were going to use, and I just kind of took a full dive. Reyna and I really sat with the company and did a lot of trainings, a lot of late nights, just making sure that we were ready for that 8-city tour that we were going to now be doing all virtually. So I think really just adapting to learning the technology and becoming an expert in that, so we were able to troubleshoot things that we didn't even know was going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Reyna, maybe on the personal side, what has been the greatest challenge since COVID-19 for you?
I think the biggest challenge personally would be, so if we were live, we would be going to all these different places: St. Louis, Boston, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Puerto Rico, and we'd be seeing all these new places. But now that we're virtual, 8 weekends in a row, it was like, wake up, sit in the same desk,
Yeah.
have the same view, look out the same window, see the same virtual platform. It wasn't bad. You interact with new speakers, new attendees, but it's just getting used to the fact that you're going to be in the same house for 8 weekends in a row, and you're going to be in the same seat for 8 weekends in a row.
Yeah, long days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that was definitely something hard to get used to.
It's so true, because so much of what we do is the balance that we kind of trade off. Okay, well, it's a big sacrifice, but we're going to be in Vegas, or it's a big sacrifice, but we're going to get to see, our favorite speaker. And we don't have that balance anymore. It's almost like, okay, it's a big sacrifice. It's a big sacrifice. It's a big sacrifice. And the things that make us, normally be able to have that release, even as a team, like doing team crazy things, boat tours, dinners, margarita nights, like whatever it is, we don't get those anymore. And so I do think it's almost like really taxing. And I think it's one of the reasons why almost right away with, after COVID-19, Dayin and I decided we're going to do a daily team check-in. We never did that before. One, because I know, and one of the ways that I like to run my businesses is not micromanaging. I probably err too much to not micromanaging and give more responsibilities to each one of you. But with this, it was like the connection was important. It wasn't even knowing, are you working on this or working on that? It was just being able to see each other every day and break up that, monotony of what are you going to do? And I think for any event planning companies, I think that's been such a great part of what we've done, is checking in with each other every day on a team call and just going around a room with what we're doing, what we're challenged with, what we need help with, great successes. We, celebrate great things that happen together. Because, as an event planning company, without your team, there is no company. So I think that that's something that's great. So Reyna, thank you for saying that, in terms of that's been a challenge, because I think one of the opportunities that came out of it was us connecting more significantly. Courtney, I'm going to go to you. So we're, a lot of companies are remote right now. Probably companies that never thought that they even could be remote are remote. You're seeing like real estate markets shift because people are giving up their brick and mortar buildings in favor of remote working. So remote working has, for those of us that have not done it before COVID-19, it always was this glamorous thing, like, oh, I would love to work from home. But talk about some of the challenges in working from home, and maybe when you hit those challenges, like, motivation, wake up and do something, motivation. What do you do to make sure that your work environment at home is productive?
Yeah, I've definitely felt like this whole work from home, and even just because I've worked from home a little bit before this job, and this situation specifically has been such a roller coaster with like emotion, mental health, motivation, everything like that. And for me, it's really just been trying to set a schedule for yourself and sticking to that. And then also feeling how you feel in the morning, like each day, and taking it with that, because some days I don't feel great when I wake up, and I just work around that and try to do the best that I can that day. But when I do feel good, getting ready, getting dressed for the day, working out, and like setting a schedule for yourself keeps you that momentum going, and it makes you feel more accomplished. That's how I think of it. And it feels like you're more, because I've worked in New York where I'm commuting like an hour a day. So waking up early and kind of like setting that time for myself, listening to a podcast, just like getting yourself kind of like hyped up. Like you have to be your own hype man.
Yeah.
like for the day, and like thinking about all the stuff that you want to accomplish and kind of like holding yourself to that. That's been a big thing for me. But in terms of just trying to like live your life while you're at work, it's been great where you're like, oh, I can throw in a load of laundry while I'm doing like this, or like go do the dishes in the middle of the day, like make myself a nice lunch. But like you can't let yourself get too carried away with that stuff, because then it's like overwhelmed with the amount of things that you got to do. So it's for me just been like take every day as a new day and like figure out what works for you, but also like trying to incorporate that schedule.
Yeah, I think that schedule, that routine really helps people stick to something. But, you know, just like we were talking about with events, that sacrifice and then reward balance, so much of our home, you know, it's like, it's our sanctuary away from work. And now it is work. And so even like developing cutoffs, you know, during the summer, I know it's really unavoidable whether we were live or virtual, but during the summer, I would see clock outs from all of you at like midnight or beyond. And for me, it was like always keeping an eye on that and making sure that that didn't become a pattern beyond what we had to do, because all of us are really like type A personalities. We're very driven. We want to make sure that our to-do list is completely clean at the end of the day, but not at the sacrifice of self-care, making sure that you're not tired, that you're not burning out, that, you know, like you've got that separation. And what we're missing is girls' nights out and time with your family, like things that we normally used to do that we can't do anymore. And so I think it's also really important when you're thinking about the working from home as an event planner, developing those ways, Courtney, like you said, like just making the nice lunch or making sure you're working out, the things that kind of bring you joy and that good dopamine feeling. We got to incorporate those things into our day. Otherwise it really could lead to burnout. Zandrana, I'm going to ask you, you know, you come from this diverse background in terms of different types of places that you've worked. What's something that has surprised you about working at Total Health?
Very good question. Surprising, you know, I'll take it to something I was actually thinking about last night is I didn't think I was going to like a company as much as I do, because the way I always feel is that there's a trifecta in whatever professional organization that you're in. You're either going to like what you do, you're going to like the people that you're around, or you're going to like the company. You're going to like one thing. It's great if you like two things. It's amazing and kind of, you know, a miracle if you like all three. And I've never liked all three. Sorry to everyone else, but I've never liked all three. I've liked one, and that was like in the beginning of my professional career out of school. And then it's like when I found two that I liked for my past DMC position, I'm like, okay, this is great. I like the people. I mean, sorry, not the people. I like some of the people. They might watch this. Oh well. I like some of you and you knew who they were. I liked what I did, and I liked the company because the company was growing. They had different offices. It was great. And I liked some of the people, not all of them. And then when I came here, I found that I really like what I was doing because I was learning. This is a different field. Again, medical events was like not my niche or nothing like that. So I coming in brand new, and I was learning a lot of new things. That's what I really love to do, is to learn and then also like execute too. And then getting to know everyone on the team, both past and present, was great. And I found, again, like I loved your energies and your vibes, and even the, you know, off-topic conversations that come up in like real discussions were always great. And then the company itself, just how they cater to like the attendees, exhibitors, speakers, fun things that you would do on site, fun ideas, and even to the type of events that we were putting on was amazing. So I think that's the most surprising thing I can say about the company is that I actually liked all three. And it's honest, like, I'll let you know.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. I like all three too. Dayin, you're such a, you're the hardest person on yourself that I think I've ever known. And I've tried over the years to break that a little bit and kind of give you the confidence that even when you think the thing is the worst that you've done, it's not the worst. It's someone else's best. And so I want to ask you what you, in the time that you've been with Total Health, what you would consider your biggest accomplishment.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I feel like there's been so many little victories along the way. Because I've been with the company for 3 years, or a little over 3 years. So I really like watching it grow to like when I first started to where we are now. It's like a completely different company. It was only me, a coworker, and Sarah at the time when we first started. We were doing paper registrations, like people signing in, and then writing Sharpie badges, like to completely see everything transform to, you know, getting the iPad check-ins and the badges printed, like the colorful, beautiful badges, and then, you know, creating an atmosphere where it's almost like a party rather than a meeting. So I don't know if I can really pinpoint one accomplishment for my time working here. I think it's just been really watching it grow and knowing that I was a huge like stepping stone to, you know, making that happen and getting us to where we are now, and then to kind of look forward into the future into what else we still can do. We're always adapting and changing and trying to be creative, coming up with, you know, new programs. I'm super excited for the programs that we have coming up that we're launching this year, like the year in review, kind of really taking everything that we learned this year with COVID and how it transformed like practice and clinical care, and even looking at the diversity in cancer care and all the disparities, and just creating new programs in our Power program that's you know, really focused on patients, bringing the patient aspect in. It's just been really exciting to do different things like that, and just getting creative and trying to create an atmosphere where the attendees will love what they're hearing, and also feel comfortable in what they're experiencing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think looking back in such a short time that we've really transformed the business from being kind of very mom and pop-ish to being very, you know, equal to some of the biggest companies in medical education out there. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud of with this team is that we're never scared to take on new things. And no matter how new and how terrifying it might feel, we're like, okay, let's put a meeting on the books and talk about how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that, you know, that really is a big driver, is that we are like our own creators and we create what we want to do. So if something's not going to work for us, then, you know, we scratch that off the list and move on to the next and have some creative, amazing idea that's going to come out of it, and then get to create and plan on that.
Yeah, definitely. Reyna, I'm going to ask you a similar question. Something work related, something that you feel really proud of, just on a personal level, but work related to the time that you've been here.
Oh, you're on mute.
I lost her sound. It doesn't look like she's on mute, but I lost her sound. No? Okay, while Reyna troubleshoots, remember I said what will go wrong, not if, but when. Maybe she'll sign off and sign back in. I'm gonna take that same question to Courtney. A work-related accomplishment that you're really proud of since you've been here.
So this is so hard for me because I was like, when you asked Dayin, I was just racking my brain of what I could respond with. And the analytical strategic side of me wants to think of, when did we get the most views on something? Like, when did we, like, how many followers did we get after this? And really, to me, that isn't what, it's cool to say like, oh, we hit like this amount of followers, but all the positive feedback that we've gotten from people, like emailing you and like hearing from you, all the people that reached out to you and just said like, you did this and it affected me in this such a positive way. All the comments that we get in the engagement, like the deep connections that we're making with people from what we're doing is so rewarding to me, because from advertising, you never see that. You always see the numbers. So this is such a unique experience where we're such a small team. We're actually engaging directly with everyone that's our like customer, and hearing exactly what we did to like help them. Or so that to me is just those small things, and hearing that like even weekly we hear that from people is just so rewarding. And I think we all feel that as a team, like hearing that feedback, we'll like share it, and we have a group message of like all the comments people have said. So like that to me is just like the best.
Yeah, it's definitely, it drives us to, it's almost what has replaced that sacrifice reward, where, you know, you're making these sacrifices, you're putting everything you've got into something, and then it's such an unknown because you don't get to see the faces of the people that you're interacting with. But then when they take the time, and for me, that's such a big moment, because healthcare providers don't have a lot of time. They just don't. They're here, they want to, you know, get their education, move on. So to know that on a Thursday night, they set aside time to send an email or a direct message on Facebook or something to say, thank you, it was great, it made a difference. I know it's hard for you, but you're doing a great job. I mean, I think for me, it changes everything. It just makes me say, okay, all right, that's why I put all of that into this particular thing. Reyna, you're back. Can you, can we see if we can hear you? No, we still can't. So sign back in with your phone. Okay, Z, I'm gonna go to you. When you tell people what you do, what is the most common misconception they might have about what they thought it was you did?
Well, first and foremost, they are very still surprised I still have a job, you know, employed as an event planner. So that's one thing. But I think the most surprising thing is they just never knew like how much work goes into it. A lot of my friends knew that I was like in event planning like for years. And they just thought, oh, well, you're just picking out this and you're just doing this. You're like sending this email list. You're doing this. And I'm like, there's a lot of things that go along with this. You don't understand. Like, there's a lot. And I think it's more of when they have their own event, especially a lot of my friends have gotten married and they've asked me like questions and things like that. And so I sit down with them and I have my whole list of everything that we need to go over. And they're like, you do this every day? And I'm like, well, not this particular event every day, but I do events every day.
Yeah.
And this is what it entails. and that's like the most surprising thing to them is that it's like a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the most like surprising out of the box thing.
It's, you know, you do a weekend meeting or even a day-long meeting for 200 people and you think, what, you know, oh, okay, this was nice. People don't know it takes months to pull that together with speakers and logistics and attendance and communications and then hotel logistics and getting on site and flowers and food and parking stamps. And I mean, so much goes into any given event and it goes by in a flash, in a flash. So yeah, I absolutely agree. That's a misconception. Reyna, third time's a charm.
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, Reyna, I'm gonna ask you, actually I might ask everyone, we've got about 10 more minutes, so I think I might ask everybody these last two questions. What is one of your favorite memories from 2020? I know 2020 has gotten a bad name for all the terrible things it's brought us, but what's your favorite memories, personal or professional, from 2020?
From 2020. Oh, my favorite memory from 2020 is just about 3 days ago, I got a dog.
Wonderful. What did you name him?
She came with a name. Her name is Princess. She's 7 years old, but I call her Little P.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome. I love that memory. Dayin, I'm going to go to you. What is one of your favorite memories from this year?
Well, I kind of have a lot. But recently I just moved, which was super exciting. I have a new boyfriend, so I'm excited about that. But probably one of my favorite memories, which was pre-COVID times, was my friend came and visited me when I was living in Philadelphia, and we just had like a great weekend. So like just remembering pre-COVID.
Yes, back when you could be with each other. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Courtney, how about you? One of your favorite memories from this last year?
I think one of my favorite memories is that we actually got a very unique experience where Dayin got to like almost live with me for I think 2 to 3 weeks, and we worked together, and then we had so much fun every day. We went up to Vermont and stayed at my house, so we got to do all our events and then go like paddleboarding after and hiking. So like we would have never been able to do that before, so that was a very fun, unique experience that we got to have.
That's amazing. Yes, and I got to see all of those pictures posted too, so I got to live vicariously through your experiences there. Z, what about you? One of your favorite memories from 2020 so far?
Well, I have two. So the first one, it definitely has to be the pink limo in Memphis when we all went to
my gosh, that was this
the
year.
restaurant. That was this year, and it was amazing. It was cold with no heat.
That was this year. I can't believe it. That feels like 6 years ago. The pink limo. Yes.
It was this year.
So what was it?
That was the last time we were all together.
It was the last time we were all together.
Oh my gosh. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And what's the second one?
The second one, I mean, it's a funny memory, but when I started here, nobody said my name properly for 2 days, and I was racking my brain. I was like, all right, I can either go through life now with this name, you know, that they now have bestowed upon me, or I can say it very gently that that's not my name.
It was 100% more than 2 days.
Yeah,
it was like,
I mean, it was
4
3 weeks for me. It was 3 weeks for me because first of all, Dayin and I both, probably everybody on this call, but Dayin and I will probably admit, we are obsessed with The Greatest Showman, and there's a singer with a very similar name to you that was on it. And I had to keep telling myself, that's not her name. Stop calling her that name. That's not her name. So I just abbreviated your name to Z because I couldn't figure it out. I was like, I'm going to call this poor girl by the wrong name forever. That is hilarious. So wait, tell us what you decided to do. Did you decide to live with it, or did you decide to tell us, girls, that's not my name?
It was on a call. I believe it was on a call with Dayin, and if I'm not mistaken, Reyna as well was on a call together. And like we was ending the call, and I was like, all right, I gotta say something. Like this is terrible. I can't go through life like this anymore. It's been a while. So I was like, all right, so ladies, just want to let you know, that's not my name. My name is Zandrana. And Dayin was the one that said, what? I've been calling you the wrong name. Why didn't you tell me? I was trying to find the right way to say this. And like, I couldn't really, put in my brain properly. I was like, I don't want to be rude, but I was like, it's not my name either. So I'm like, all right. Here we are.
Well, now we get it right, and even though we get it right, I still continue to call you Z, because to me that's way more fitting. But I feel like I nickname everybody, so that's hilarious. Well, thank you for giving us the pink limousine, and that we all pronounced your name terribly in the beginning as your memories. Okay, I'm gonna end with a silly question, and since Dayin opened the door for it in telling us that she watches reality TV, if everyone can give me the thing that you do that is the most embarrassing that nobody else knows, even maybe this team doesn't know about you. And actually, I will jump in on this one too. Normally, I put it on other people, but I will jump in on this one too. So, Dayin, I'm going to start with you.
I legit cannot think of anything.
Oh, you don't have any embarrassing habits?
I don't know, because I do things and I don't think they're embarrassing. I don't know what it could be. Maybe someone could tell me what I do that's embarrassing. I legit can't think.
Maybe a guilty pleasure, something that, maybe like your favorite part or your favorite reality show and why.
Oh, well, I have a long list. I can show you what's embarrassing.
I know what you're gonna say. I know the embarrassing thing.
I have a list of all of my TV shows by the day of when they're on and the date, so I have to cross them off my to-do list once I watch it. And you can see I'm very behind on the top one. I have a lot of dates there. But yeah, I have a lot of reality TV shows I like Big Brother I've been watching all summer, which has been fun. RuPaul's Drag Race, and then all the Housewives. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And it is true that the most embarrassing part of that is that you have it in the notes section of your Courtney, what about you? Either an embarrassing guilty pleasure or an embarrassing habit or trait?
So I actually was talking about this and I explained it to someone the other day and they're like, you should not tell people that. So of course I'm going to say it here. Well, if you haven't met me in person, I'm really tall and I'm lanky and I'm pretty clumsy. And I was talking about the other day how I always hit my head on things around the house, like on my mailbox, on sconces, around my house. And I was like, I think it's because I can see every part of my body except my head, so I forget that it's there. So I have no awareness of of where my head is. So I constantly hit it on things.
Yeah, that qualifies. That definitely qualifies. Z, what about you?
Something embarrassing. I mean, I embarrass myself every day. It's totally fine. I think something embarrassing that I always do, and again, Dayin, I don't find it embarrassing to my life, but other people think it is. I like to burp a lot, and it's not the classiest thing I do every day, but I burp constantly, especially if I have root beer. Watch out, I'm definitely gonna burp a couple of times, and it's just gonna happen.
Oh my God.
It's just gonna be loud. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. It's just gonna come out, and then we're just gonna move on with life after that. But burping.
Okay, noted. Do not let her order root beer before any live event coming up. Reyna, how about you? An embarrassing, a guilty pleasure or an embarrassing trait?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm probably just an embarrassing person. A guilty pleasure, I'd have to say Dayin, reality TV. I've been on vacation this last week, and I haven't left my couch. I've been watching New York Housewives all day, every day. The only time I go outside is to take the new dog out. And I don't feel as bad because I haven't seen the sun. It's been raining here since I've been on vacation, so I don't feel as bad. But yeah, that's my life.
Perfect. Well, yesterday I was in the car, my little boy was in the back seat in his car seat, and my husband was next to us. We were driving wherever we were driving. And I said to little Joe, what are you in the mood to eat right now? And he said, I think pizza. And Jason looked at me and said, he's your kid. Because I sing randomly, random parts of sentences. I could be having a conversation with anyone, a doctor, a colleague at work, my own family, anything, and someone will say something and I'll say, I love that. And I have the most terrible voice, as does my little boy, but for some reason, there are some things better sung than said. And that has become my life's philosophy in terms of my most embarrassing trait. So on that note, we will not sing our goodbyes to all of you, but we hope that spending the time with each one of you has given you a glimpse into us, into what we do. And for those of you who work in the events industry, we want to let you know that we completely see you. We stand with you. We're all together through this crazy time. We lift each other up as many times and in as many settings as we possibly can. And if there's ever an opportunity for us to work together on things that help solve a problem or just give you a little bit of a boost, we're always here to do that. And there will be times that we call on you as well. So I want to thank my team for being such great sports in doing this, because it was on my heart to do. And I thank them so much for everything that they do every day to fulfill the mission and vision of this company, which is to continue to provide really great patient care, even during a global pandemic, by giving information that otherwise would be difficult to find. So I thank you all for all that you do every day. And I look forward to seeing you on all the upcoming team calls. And I can't wait to have another pink limousine ride with all of you as soon as we can do it safely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye, guys.
Bye.